Okay, so it's June 11th, and once again, Mr. Perry took something wrong he shouldn't even know about. So, the guy's a peeping Tom, and he cloned my phone. So, he'll see things I do in my house or in the privacy of my phone, which I have the reasonable expectation of privacy in my phone and my house. Um, and he'll see things against my will without my consent and take it wrong. And the guy types stuff in my phone, like some of the names that we have on this list here. Some of these names that we got from him, asking if it's a leak. So keep in mind, he does a crime to me, he gets caught. David does a crime to me, he gets caught. Gordy does a crime to me, Gregory and Lucius do a crime to me, they get caught. Like trying to traffic me. Human trafficking. That's a serious crime. It comes with a life sentence per count. Same as murder in a lot of states. It is a serious violation for a man to watch a woman in her house. It is a rape, as far as I'm concerned. So Mr. Perry has created some sort of delusional romance out of what he's doing. And it gets no more wackadoo than him. John Hinckley Jr. and worse. He's killed a lot more people or hurt a lot more people than John Hinckley Jr. did. So John Hinckley Jr. is watching TV. He forms a romance with a woman on the television, Jodie Foster. He goes and tries to murder the president, and then he's disappointed that she wasn't impressed. And he spends a long time in a mental hospital because that's where he belongs. He's a danger to himself and others. Mr. Perry's no different. He has Huntington's disease. It causes psychosis, hallucinations, delusion, paranoia, and impaired cognitive reasoning. For him, 2 and 2 is not 4. 2 and 2 is orange or banana or something whack job that doesn't make sense to us. And so some of the names we got are names he typed on in my phone. Is Bob a leak? Is Al a leak? Is Renee a leak? Is Troy and Zach a leak? I don't know those people. I don't know any of those people. Those are your people. Leak what to who? You said you're not doing what we claim you're doing. So what is it you're worried about that got leaked to our people, my boss, and me? If you're not doing what we say, there's nothing to leak. Okay? If you're not being investigated, who leaked to who? Do you hear the whack job then what you say? We do. We're like, oh my God. So some of these names we got from him, asking if they're a leak. These are not people I know. None of them are. Mr. Perry, if you contact me, I'm going to get more names, sir. We got Arnold. Okay, I know who Arnold is. It would shock people if you knew who Arnold is. I'm not putting his last name out right now. It would shock people. There's a client list, Mr. Perry. You're endangering your clients and your investors. Every time you contact me, every time you take something from me, every time you sit there and pretend and make believe and piss me off. I rejected you and I left, and you need to be a man about it and move on. You make me sick in my stomach. I don't do guy who peeps. Never would I want a man who peeps. He'll type in my phone, thank you, we're a couple, we're together. And I'm like, no, you're hacking my phone. Get the fuck out of my phone. Creepy Chucky. We call him Creepy Chucky. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. And he thinks that's romantic. He thinks murder is romantic. I think somebody has, more than one person has questioned whether or not he's a necrophiliac. Because he forms a romance with a woman and then murders her and then has sex with her dead body, and then there's this fantasy. And these guys, if you watch Mindhunters, or you read Mindhunters, or you study serial killing, I have almost a degree in criminal justice, so believe me, I've studied that. They create a fantasy in their head. And they run it through their head, 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 and then they start planning how to do it. And then they do it. And then they get, a release. They have a buildup, and then there's a release, and then there's a depression because the actual act did not meet the expectation of the fantasy. And that's what Charles Perry does all day, I guess. I don't know. Why would you, we have all this to his none. He can't even get a name of anybody investigating him. Nobody will help him with that. You know why? He horrifies people with what he's doing. David horrifies people with what he's doing. Gordy, and Lucius, and Gregory, you horrify people with what you're doing. So nobody will give you a name. We got your code words here that depict acts acts of coercion and intimidation with intent to coerce human trafficking delivery. You try to kill me, you try to poison me, you don't starve a woman and think she's going to want you. I took everything you have. Hitler did the same thing. He took all these Jews, everything they worked very hard for, their businesses, their homes, their clothes, their art, anything they had, separated families, and then put them in a little shack with rats and lice, and fed them maybe once a week. If I can't eat, Mr. Perry, because you're poisoning my food or drugging it or something, or because I can't afford to eat, my boss is coming after you. Like you've not had happen before. No other victim has all this. I do. It's different when you do it to me. You wake up in a new world every 5 minutes. We got this racked and stacked, sir. They're going to use it to put you in jail. Why else do this? We don't really care what bullshit story you tell yourself. Doesn't matter to us at all. We get the intel either way, don't we? Okay, when you start saying thank you for what? Getting another name of your people? Do you think he's saying thank you right now? Because you provoked some things that caused us to get that name, sir. Okay? And Tony, who's pissed off that everybody goes around and goes, come on, invest in human trafficking. It's risk-free. Is it? You get a lot of people that won't help you because it's a risk. Your risk. And you're nothing but risk. And your delusion is a part of that risk, Mr. Perry. Your make-believe is a part of that risk. Okay? So you're not getting it, whack job. You're a true whack job. Certified diagnosed wackadoo. Okay, I don't want to help you, and I will never help you. And you keep asking me, today is Craig a leak, is Bob a leak? And he asked me about Bob almost every day. For a while, it was Jim and Al almost every day. Okay, what if I said about, this is asked and answered, dum-dum. I'm recording it so that you can just listen to it again. I don't have to repeat myself. See, when you're in jail, I won't have to do that. I'll have my privacy, and I won't ever be broke again. So I'm not going to help you, sir. You won't be around to bother me anymore. And that's what I want. I want my privacy, my kids, and my money. And you're gone. I've made that very clear for a long, long time. So for you to wake up every 5 minutes in a new world and think something changes, it speaks to your delusion. For you to think that you guys are going to sit me down and talk me into being human trafficked speaks to your delusion. Look what I have. Somebody's getting that for me. I can't do that by myself. Just because nobody will tell you anything doesn't mean anything. Just because you can't figure out how we do that doesn't mean anything. We don't want you to know all that, do we? If we want you to know, you're going to know. If we don't want you to know, you're not going to know. And then when you go to trial, what you have to know, they'll tell you then. Your attorney, the prosecutor will talk to your attorneys, okay? So for you to sit there and ask me about leaks, is Craig a leak? Okay, let's try this again. I'm not told how information is obtained. I don't want to help you. I want you gone. I want you out of my life. I want to help my son, not you. I want to help the victims, not you. I've said the same thing over and over and over for 15 years. You make my skin crawl. There is not a romance there. We are not a couple. It's not real to me. What goes on in your mind isn't in my mind. You repulse me. You disgust me. You give me the heebie-jeebies. And I've told you that for years. I moved twice to get away from you and not have any communication with you again. I don't want to hear from you. I didn't ask you what you think. I think you're a nosy body. You need to get a life and mind your own fucking business. I didn't ask you what you think. I don't care. No one wants to hear it anymore. You know what they care about? What I think. About you violating me in a very vulgar way. Day after day after day. You're the imposition and burden that you've become. To me and Dennis, they're worried about us. They don't give a shit about you. So you can't get a name and I can, but we don't act like you, sir. And all of this stuff, you should have figured that out by yourself. Long, long, long ago. Okay, so what does this say? Information is obtained, sir, by way of court-ordered surveillance, by way of an official infiltrator, or an official informant, or an unofficial leak. How they do that, you know as much as I do. I'm not told that. It's a need to know. I'm not told that. I don't want to help you. I want you gone. I moved twice so that I would never have to hear from you again. I moved twice so that there would be no fight with you. You go where I am, you were the aggressor, you're causing the loss and the problems, and you can't get help because you do that. I get the help, not you. I matter, you don't. And that's all there is to it. I shouldn't have to repeat myself every fucking time I do a podcast, should I? And yet, here we are repeating. But see, when you're gone, there won't be any more need to repeat. Because everybody else gets, but you, gets it the first time we say it, we don't have to say it again. Okay? We've said the same thing to you over and over and over and over, and it just never clicks. And that is not my problem. That is Mark Warman's problem. That is Jim McGue's problem. That is Seth Dennis's problem. That is Matt Powell's attorney's problem. Norma Giles' problem. That's your problem. It's not my problem. It's James Goodwin's problem. It's not my problem at all. Your whack job problem. Okay? You're burdening me with it and you're imposing it on me, and I don't like that. So if you do something I don't like, guess what? We get names like Arnold, or Nathan and Trevor, and Jeff and Billy. The guys got those names. Renee, you gave us. And Bob, you gave us. Al and Jim, you gave us. Is it Jimmy Gue you're asking about? Or some other Jim? I don't want to hear from you. I am focused. That's why I get the help and you don't. I have names and you don't. I'm focused on what I want. I want you gone. I want information to take to court in a criminal case so the guys can put you in jail and you're gone. And I will never be broke again, and I'll have my privacy, which I have the right to my privacy. You don't have the right to take my privacy, and you don't have the right to take my money or my property. And it costs you when you do that, and you just act like you just don't get any of that. And your stupid problem is causing you more loss than you know. It's costing you. Look at this. These people want my help, and they have nothing to bring to the table but stupidity, risk, delusion, and bad stigma. And their risk is they keep getting caught. But then they act like they don't know they're caught, which is even more of a risk. And I'll have nothing to do with any of that. So I wouldn't tell them anything. And that's becoming the thought more prevalent every day. Because every day you get caught when you do the crime to me. And you think that's a romance? Come on now. Even you ought to know better than that. I would never date a man who peeps. I don't do ghetto. I don't do broke, sir. Not for you, not for anybody. You can't bribe me with my own money. You owe me money. Lost time, lost money, lost property, key relationships, and my guys will make you pay. It's not up to you. It's not up to you when we got these names or these code words. Nor is that. I don't care what you believe. We get the intel either way. We're going to do what we do with it either way. And it's never up to you, is it? No. Your delusion hasn't changed anything. Your make-believe land hasn't changed anything. So, I mean, come on now. You're just embarrassing yourself. You're making a buffoon of yourself. So a lot of people want to distance themselves from you because you're like that. And you're not in reality. You're just not all there. People can't stand what you're doing, the cruelty and the creepy. Can't stand it. And they don't want anything to do with it. Nothing at all. Nothing to do with you. So you can't get names and nobody will help you. Now, we told you what to do if you wanted help. You got a name, Charles? You got my boss's name, Charles? No. You have our code words, Charles? No, sir. Are you quoting our meetings and our phone calls? No, sir, you're not. You act like you think you are. You are not. We have 419 pages of never-ending scrolling, Mr. Perry. Right here. Of your conversations in your meetings and your phone calls and your people's names and your code words. On this blog, 419 pages of them. You're not all there, are you? Because you act like you think it's the other way around. It is not the other way around. It's the opposite of the other way around. You're a rejected, failed, too fucktard to figure out how to move on like the rest of us. You're a failure. You're delusional. You're a whack job. And everybody's tired of dealing with that. So we got one last night or this morning. I can't remember when it was. You make people very uncomfortable, Mr. Perry. Uh, this is what police are supposed to do when a stalking report is made. Tulsa police. Watch the video and learn how to do it right. This is about how stalkers use the phone. Okay? And this is kind of old. I mean, Mr. Perry cloned my phone. I've said it over and over and over. The guys tell me I have 200 texts and emails I haven't read yet that Mr. Perry intercepted. And I can't read them until his criminal trial because it's evidence right now, and they want that left alone right now. 200. Yeah, because he's a nosy body. Okay, see this right here? They're talking about why is she not delivered yet? Well, how would I know that you sold me in a human trafficking deal to Larry Hughes, a Houston realtor, before you even deliver? Do other victims know that? No, but I do. Now, why do I know, Charles? Since you know everything, tell us that. Know it all? Didn't you have power and money? Tell us, why is it different when you do it to me and I do have that information before you deliver, as opposed to the other victims? Explain that, sir. Yep, delusional. He wakes up in a new world every 5 minutes. So he'll convince himself his bullshit is real, and that's what this whole conversation was about. What's going on that she's not delivered? Well, she finds out what he's trying to do. Every time. Every day. Well, why can't we talk to her boss? He said, if you want to talk to me, I don't need to talk to you. I can see when I arrest you. Why would I need to talk to you? If you want me to do you a favor, I have some conditions for that. Give back what you took and get the fuck out of her life. Don't invade her privacy. Don't contact her or her family at all. Respect her rights and wishes, freak show. And she has to be with her son, and you have to give her money back and get out of her life, or I won't talk to you. I don't need to talk to you. I'll see you when I arrest you. You're asking me to do a favor for you. I'll do a favor for you, but you better do what I told you to do. And he's told you that for 6 years. You don't want the help. You want to bother me. You want to harass me. You want you want to cause problems. Or so you don't get the help. Because in order to get his call or his help, you have to do what he said. He doesn't need to talk to you. He's not trying to have a conversation with you. You're bothering me. And he told you to stop. So you want to bother. You don't want the help. And that's all there is to it. And so this guy's like, so you got Charles, who's a whack job, delusional, and he's sitting there watching her in her house and pretending that's a romance. It's not a romance. It's a crime. It's rape. It's a form of rape. Voyeurism is a crime, and there's no way I would go out with somebody who does that. There's no way. I like gentlemen, chivalrous, men's men. They protect women and children. They don't rape and rob and steal and kill and cheat and lie and badmouth me. They defend my honor, sir. I would give you the time of day. You're a job for me. And you know that. Because no one else has this. So why do I have it if you're not a job for me? Stupid. You're stupid. I don't do stupid. I can't stand it. I can't be around that. I can't deal with it. I don't have to. I don't have to. So, I don't go off broke. So like Hitler took everything and then here, I gave you a place to live and food to eat. Did he? Is that what you call that? So Mr. Perry, he types in my phone, I gave to you. No. You took my steak, you give me canned food, and you try to take that too. And then you try to bribe me with my own money. So I don't know what planet you live on, but that's not going to cut it. That's not cutting it. Okay? I want my steak back, and I want you out of my life. You owe me $5,000 a day for using my body, my property, my utilities for your entertainment and for profit. And you're to stop, or you're agreeing to pay the bill. And if you don't do it on your own, the guys will do it for you. And that's all there is to it. It's not a choice for you. Okay? It's not if, it's when. And it'll probably cost you double if they have to do it for you. Just like they get all this information and they got your people's names and they got your code words, they do that too. It's not up to you. Wasn't up to you when we got that information. Nothing's up to you. Delusional. You better get a grip on reality. And he said, here's the thing, is that she said, if you want to talk to my boss, then you give back what you took and you get the fuck out of my life. And they all say, no, let's try one more thing. And then only thing that's happened all these years is she's got one more thing. You got Gregory, you got Lucius, you got David, you got Gordy and Jacob, who are operating with their ego. They're feeding their ego. So they got all these guys investing in this, and they're telling them human trafficking is no risk. It's a guaranteed return on your investment. Only every day they get caught, and nothing works. And she's not delivered, and they just get more caught, and more caught. And she gets more intel, and more intel. And at some point, her boss is going to put them all in jail. And they can't deliver her. She knows what to do. It's either on Facebook or it's on the blog, or she just doesn't do what they thought she would. Because you got a bunch of people who are in delusion, and they think wrong every time. And he said it's been this way for years. And he said one of those guys told everybody that he had walked by a room, and that Gregory or somebody, they were all talking about, here's what we're going to do to her. And they stopped him and said, well, wait a minute, she already knows, so she's not going to do what you think she is. We'll do it anyway. Okay, well, you're headed down a rabbit hole, senile, Alzheimer's, and I will not go with you. Sure enough, at the end of the day, they went ahead and did it, and it didn't work. And they were all complaining that didn't work. And I said, well, but we all told you it wouldn't. She already knew. If she knows what to do. She doesn't want anything to do with you people, so she won't do what you thought she was going to do. She never has, she never will. This is 15 years of this. This is a decade and a half of this. She will make a fool of you. She'll fuck with you. She'll trick you into something. But she's not going to do what you want. She never has. Never has, never will. You're not her kind. And he said they'd done this day after day after day after day, over and over and over and over. And they still go, well, let's try one more thing. It'll work this time. But it's never worked. So I'm done with it. And he goes, my guess is there are people like that who gave money, invested money, only for them to get caught because they're stupid and delusional, that are pissed off, and they might be part of who's the leaks. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not told how information is obtained, and I don't even care. This is one of your people's speculation. She already knows, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay, but it won't work because she knows. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to try one more thing to get her delivered in an illegal human trafficking deal. We got the airplane ready at the airport. Tim's ready to go and fly her off to, to be a hostage and a rape victim and a victim of violent crime. He's got the airplane ready now. We got to go get her. We hear you say that almost every day. So who has that information, Charles? It's not just me. Who all has it? What are they going to do with it, and when are they going to do it? How pissed off did you want them to be when they do it? Every time you contact me, it makes me mad. It makes my boss mad. It makes everybody on our team mad. Every time you take money from me and I'm broken, every day you keep me from my son, and everything you do to him, you're pissing us off. My whole team. And he does not need to talk to you. And I do not want to help you. And your delusion is embarrassing that you think I would want to help you. We're not a couple. You're a job. And you're a sick little fuck who needs to be put in a padded cell. So you're costing your own investors money because you are whack job. You're whack job. So he's asking this guy, when you talk to Charles and you try to reason with him and you try to explain something to him, you can't do this. It's not going to work. You can sit there and pretend it will work. It won't work. Not on her. She already knows. Why is it different with her than the other victims? And he gets this far away look in his eye like he has no fucking idea what you just said. And the guy says, how often is that happening? He goes, more and more every day. His disease is progressing and it's becoming worse. Noticeably worse. So you can't reason with him. And it's costing time and money to do all this stuff for her to find out before, and then it doesn't work because she knows what to do. And it's either on Facebook or it's on the blog, and then she's got evidence of mains ray and premeditation and malicious forethought, or she just won't do what they want. And it's been that way for years. And they act like that's not happening. It is happening. And so we got problems. Big problems, and it's David's fault. The 6 that are main people that are the problems, that are causing a vulnerability for everybody else and taking everybody else's money and throwing it down the drain, is David Robertson, Gregory, Lucius, Gordy, Jacob, and Charles Perry. Now, Charles is a whack job, certified diagnosed. He doesn't know what the hell's happening. And the rest of them are just feeding the ego. And that's it. That's all there is to it. It's costing money. It's costing other people their money. So I don't know what you want to do, but she's not going. And nothing's gone like they think it will. So you try to kidnap her, that won't go like they think it will either. I promise you, it won't go like they want it to. Get Tim at the airport, get the plane fired up. Well, he's done that how many times now? And she's like, nope, I'm not going with you, you sick little fuck. Now this thing with Steve Kunzweiler wanted me back in Tulsa. I think it's safe to say we have confirmed that information is good information. Okay, that's all I'm saying. There was more of that spoken to in previous podcasts, but I'm sick of repeating myself. Speaking of which, there's some misconstruing of what I had to say about Michael Jackson, so I'm going to try this again one last time. I think the guy was the best entertainer ever of all times in all the world. Hands down, the best. So, I like his music, and I was very conflicted because of the pedophilia situation with him. I was having a hard time listening to it as much as I enjoy it. I felt like he's acquitted. So he's acquitted of pedophilia, and I'm like, well, maybe it's just a bunch of bullshit. So I decide for myself, I'm going to look into it, and I'm going to come to my own personal conclusion, and then I personally will decide whether or not I want his music on my playlist or not, whether I want to hear his stuff or not. If it's bullshit, and I come to that conclusion based on what I find out on my own research, then I'm not going to listen to his music. I can't do it. It makes me want to throw up when I think of the pedophilia and the hurt and the devastation that stuff causes forever. You don't get over that. You never get over that. So what I'm going to do is, and if I find that I believe he was innocent, then I'm going to continue to listen to his music. So I started researching it. And what I found is that there were people who made accusations against him, and that they bullshitted a lot. And they had ulterior motives. And I feel like there were real victims that probably many of them we have not heard from yet, that they ruined it for them. Unfortunately, you also had a prosecutor that clearly failed to properly prepare his witnesses. You saw that with Debbie Rowe. You saw that with the victim, in that Mesereau got them to say things on the stand that were contradictory. He got them to change their stories and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, here's the story. It's either XYZ or it's not XYZ. And you have a prosecutor who has a witness testimony or a victim's testimony, and they need to prepare their victims and their witnesses prior to trial with the anticipation that the other attorney is going to go at them and try to make them look like liars. And that's the way it is. That's the way court is. You should expect it. You should prepare for it. And you better know what the fuck you're doing. And you better have some evidence to back up your witness's testimony. You really need to have that. And if you don't have that, then you've got a vulnerability that you're opening yourself up to have a problem with your credibility and your witness's credibility in front of a jury who's not going to believe them. Get something to back up what they're saying. More than one thing. So, not just 20 witnesses all say the same thing. Well, okay, but show me evidence that those 20 witnesses weren't coached or paid or whatever. I need to see some evidence that this guy's telling me the truth. So, he's telling the truth or he's not. Witnesses are notoriously wrong. So, when you get a young kid who says he's been molested, and he's on the stand, and the other attorney goes at him, and all of a sudden, in fact, they said that they were arguing with each other so badly, Mesereau and the victim, that the judge had to tell them to stop arguing with each other. Well, that's weird. It's unusual to have a defense attorney and the victim just fight in court, argue with each other on the stand, but they did. So, but the prosecutor should have prepared the young man that here's the questions that you're going to be asked. He's going to try to make it look like you're lying. Here's what he's going to bring up. Here's what he's going to throw in your face on the stand. And here's how you prepare to address it. And clearly the prosecutor failed to do that, both with this victim and I believe another kid in Debbie Rowe. Okay, so that's the prosecutor's fault. He fucked up his job. And unfortunately, maybe that's what led to the acquittal. Maybe it's not. All I could do is speculate on some of this. All anybody can do is speculate on some of this. But there should have been no case filed at all unless they had some evidence to back up what people said. People say things. You need evidence to prove what they say is true. And that's all there is to it. And if I was a prosecutor, I wouldn't file charges against shit without some evidence to prove what this person says is true. Because there's too many people that just say shit. And that, unfortunately, can ruin an innocent person's life. And it can also cause a guilty man to go free. So you don't want any of that. So you put a case together very strategically and very methodically. And you get all that put together, and the prosecutor didn't do any of that. So unfortunately that didn't work out well. And what you have though, so forget all that. Let's just say these people didn't make accusations or whatever. And then you have Macaulay Culkin and you have Corey Feldman both said, I was there and I was not molested. Great. Later, Corey Feldman, in one report that I heard or that I read, Corey Feldman backtracked a little bit and said, I was not molested. However, I think maybe he was trying to groom me because I was molested by somebody in Hollywood, and that's kind of how it started. So it may not have gone to the point where I was molested, but it may have gone. It does. I did feel like I was being groomed again after I've already been through that. Macaulay Culkin says okay. I'm going by Michael Jackson's own words. I like boys in my bed. Not, I like boys in my bedroom, I like boys coming to my house, I like to help be a father figure to them or a big brother to them. He said, I like boys in my bed. Ew. Gross. There is something very, very wrong with that. I don't care who says it. It's not normal for a grown man to want boys, young little boys, in their bed. That's disgusting. It's wrong. No parent should allow their child to do that. And some of the kids are now very angry at their parents for allowing that to have happened. Their job is to protect their child. So they didn't. Here, yeah, sure, Michael, go sleep with my kid in your bed. Okay, it's strange that a 40-year-old man would want nothing but young boys in his bed. The two women that he was married to, Lisa Marie Presley and Debbie Rowe, were not with him a lot. They both said when he was traveling a lot. When he was in town, he was with me, but otherwise he was on the road. Well, he took these little boys on the road with him. That was part of what caused some of the angst with the families is he would have a boy that he picked that was in his bed with him all the time, and he's bringing the family over, and he's kind of taking care of the whole family, and they travel with him, and they're part of his entourage, and they're getting spoiled and showered with attention by a famous person, and living the lifestyle of a famous person, and rich, and whatever they wanted, they got it. Some of them were broke, and then they lived like that all of a sudden. Okay, but here's the thing. All of a sudden, he would phase them out and he'd pick a new boy. So now they're pissed off. Now you got hurt feelings. So, that's when the lawsuits started. That's when the claims of molestation started. So, basically, what I'm saying is, and Macaulay Culkin's like, he has a two-story bedroom, so people slept in his bedroom. What did he fucking do? If I came in from a busy day of fun and I'm exhausted and I sit on the couch, I fall asleep on the couch. If I was sitting on his bed, I fell asleep on the bed. Whatever. Okay, no, yep, I get that. But he didn't say I like little boys in my room, my two-story bedroom. He said I like little boys in my bed. He said that. Those are his words, and that's highly inappropriate for a grown man to want little boys in his bed all the time and to have them travel around like they did. And these families, we'd get spoiled, and then they'd get mad when he'd start phasing them out because he picked a new kid. What the hell is this? It's twisted. It's sick. It's not normal. It's wrong. And it might be that Macaulay Culkin was being groomed and Corey Feldman was being groomed, and they may not have known that at the time. Maybe Corey put that together later. I don't know. Maybe Macaulay never did put that together. I mean, we don't know. There's a lot of speculating there because we had a prosecutor didn't do his fucking job right. We had police maybe could have done some things different too, and finding some more incriminating evidence. There, it's going to be there. If someone is committing a crime, you don't go to a scene of a crime without leaving something behind or taking something with you. It's there. Find it. If they're doing this, they're doing it. Find the evidence. So you're not just going by what someone says. You've got some evidence to support what the guy says or doesn't say or whatever. So that is what I said. I came to the conclusion based on Michael's own words. He had people lie about him, no question. They had ulterior motives, no question. They're getting phased out. They're butthurt about it, and they want money. So they say things that aren't true, and they very, very much did. And that's not fair to the victims, the people that were really hurt. That's not fair. Maybe those kids were really hurt, and maybe the prosecutor just didn't prep his guy right, his victim right. There's so much we don't know. There's too much unknown to say for sure on any of it. What I can say is that Michael's own words made me very uncomfortable, and for that reason alone, I'm done with it. I don't want to hear his music anymore. Because it is very inappropriate for a 40-year-old man to say, I want boys, little boys, in my bed. And that's all that's in my bed. Once in a while, I'll pretend to get married and I'll go sleep with a woman in her bed. But most time, 99% of my time is with a boy, young boy in my bed. And I'm a grown-ass man. And that's sick. There's something wrong with it. And I was uncomfortable with it. So I decided to make the decision I made. As to his guilt or innocence on pedophilia, there's a lot there's too much speculation. There's too much unanswered questions. I think that his words told on him, and I think that his conscience got the better of him, and that's why he couldn't sleep, and he kept asking his doctor, give me more drugs, until he finally had basically an assisted suicide, is what it looks like, because he was demanding the drugs, and the doctor didn't say, no, I can't give you any more. He just kept giving them to him until he finally died, and it's unfortunate that his life ended the way it did. I'm sad about it. I think that people... I've seen God's mercy be great, and when people repent from what they've done, something like that, if you look at some of the guys, let's say for example in office that did something stupid, there was a guy in I guess Sanford or something was his name, and he was a governor, and he traipses off with this Argentinian woman, and he gets caught having an affair with her, and he basically comes up to the podium and says, I'm sorry, and I'm resigning, and I'm having an affair outside of my marriage, and I'm going to take a break from politics for a while, and I did do this, and I'm sorry. Okay, I owe my public an apology, I owe my family an apology, and I'm going to own this like a man, and I'm going to take a step back for a bit. So he did that, and he becomes a congressman later. And then you got guys like John Ensign who greatly disappointed us all, because I liked John Ensign, and he buys off the family, and he got Bill Clinton, and you got some of these guys that lie and try to cover things up, and they're done with politics and they're not coming back. So look at the difference in how people perceive someone who admits guilt. I own my mistake. I made a mistake. I'm a human being, and I'm going to own it, and I apologize, and they make it right. Versus people who try to lie and cover up. They're done. Ensign cannot get back into politics. He's done. And you got Bill Clinton's forever going to be known as the Monica Lewinsky, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but you got the Sanford guy that I respect, because he just owned his mistake, and he apologized, and he took a step back, got his crap together, went back at it, and then he became a U.S. congressman. Because people respected his honesty and his being straightforward. Because everybody makes mistakes. God forgive the guy who sins differently than me. Okay, but there are crimes that are so heinous. Sex crimes are particularly heinous. Murder. What God said is, don't have any other gods before me. Don't kill people. Don't steal from them. Don't covet things that are not yours. Don't commit adultery. Don't bear false witness against your neighbor. Kids, obey your parents. Then you'll have a long life, because your parents are looking to protect you. Most of them are anyway. So, you do have parents that are just bad parents, but most parents want to protect their kids from getting hurt or from hurting themselves. and so forth. God set those 10 laws up. It's just 10. God set them up. So when he does his heavenly courts, he's seeing through his laws. He's going to always judge and rule in law in favor of his rules and his laws. And we have consequences. We reap what we sow. That's why he said, above all else, treat other people like you want to be treated. Not like, don't treat other people like treat other people like you want them to treat you if you're in the same situation, in any given situation. Because guess what? You're going to reap what you sow. It is going to come back on you somewhere, some way, down some point. You're going to have the same thing. So you got in my privacy, Mr. Perry. My guys got in your privacy. You take something from me. My guys take information from you to put you in jail, so there's no more taking. And that's all there is to it. I want nothing to do with you. I went to a lot of trouble to get away from you and to keep my son safe from you and to keep me safe from you and have no conflict with you, no contact from you. I don't want to hear from you. I don't like you. And so for you, the stuff that you say is so off the wall and complete fail as in response to what I'm saying. No one can understand what the fuck is wrong with you that you would do that. No one understands it but for your Huntington's disease. You're just nutty. Now, these other people, David Robertson and Lucius and Gregory and Jacob and Gordy, what's your excuse? Because you're all doing the same thing he is. And that's basically what this guy said. This thing has been a fail because you have too many people who are not operating with a full load, making very, very important decisions. And they'll know she already knows and they'll do it anyway. And then can't figure out why it didn't work. It's not going to work, especially when she knows. And now, more and more, she's not saying what she knows beforehand. They got it. That's all they need. That's all they need. They have it. The guys have it. They're going to put him in jail. I'm not the one going to put you in jail. They are. I'm not the one going to try you in a criminal trial. They are. My boss is. And by the way, he's not going to fire me for what he's doing. He's getting the intel and giving it to me and everybody else that they need to know. And you don't know who all that is. And he doesn't need to talk to you. He was trying to do you a favor, and you slapped him in the face and gave him the middle finger, and you disrespected and insulted him. So he doesn't want you to. He doesn't want to talk to you. You made a choice to harass me all day, and terrorize me all day, and steal from me, and cause physical harm to me and Dennis, and to cause financial harm to me and Dennis, and property loss, instead of getting his phone call. So live with it. That's your choice. Live with it.